To date window or to not date window? That is the question in this video today, and there are many people with many different opinions about date windows and whether or not they should be on watches or not. I've seen arguments go time and time again in the comments, but today we're gonna be looking at, for those on the side of no date windows, looking at time-only watches on a budget of under $1,000. So the watches we're gonna be looking at are time-only watches, no added complications, so no calendars, no chronographs, or anything other than hours and minutes and seconds. So the point of this video is really just to look at watches that will cater to those that really don't like the obstruction of a date window and throwing off symmetry of a dial. If that's you and describes you and you've been in fights in person or in YouTube comment sections in the past about date windows, this video is for you. So now let's kick things off with a affordable watch, but a goodie, and one that completely transformed this brand in the past, now 8 years ago at this point. Hard to believe that that's the case. This is the Timex Marlin hand winding edition. This is a 34mm watch released in 2017. This is not something that you would have normally seen. It was a bold move for Timex, given their reputation and what was popular at the time for wristwatch design. But they leaned into this vintage DNA of the past, and they were able to create something that screamed mid-20th century, and I think stuck the landing very well. When trying to develop a list like this, you really have to think about how can a watch differentiate, because there's no added complexity of different complications. You need to think about numerals and just the way that the dial is presented overall. And I think Timex with the Marlin is able to do exactly that. You have these retro numerals for the hours, simplified in its approach. You have this mild metallic and sunbrushed dial that evokes a look towards the past, coming with a manual seagull caliber on the inside. It's a watch that's not going to feel that dressed up, maybe not in its form of design, but I'm talking about more of its construction. But nevertheless, still is one, when looking under $1,000 and representing this idea of clean symmetry, that I would mention on a list like this. So is there a watch style and design that better characterizes what we're talking about here than a field watch? I'm gonna include two field watches from mainstream brands on this list. The first has to be Hamilton. I'm not going to belabor the point about Hamilton and their history of field watch design, but it is absolutely there. And this was the watch that really helped establish Hamilton, even from the contemporary point of view, and looking back to their past and connecting the dots for a new generation of collectors. You have a 38mm diameter for this watch, and not to be confused with the Khaki Field Auto. The Khaki Field Auto does have a date, has 100 meters of water resistance, automatic winding, the mechanical 50 meters of water resistance, and is going to be manual winding. On the inside of the Hamilton H50, this is an ETA-derived caliber, reducing the beat frequency from 28,800 vibrations per hour to 21,600 vibrations per hour, extending that power reserve as a result. This watch basically is the dictionary definition of a field watch, and a great first step into mechanical hand winders. You have sword hands, nice contrast with the markers and what's going on with those hands. Some people will love or hate the foam markings. There are variations that will not showcase this to the same degree as others, just depends what you like. Pull-through straps offer a wide variety, and for a time-only watch, I think this is a nice pairing. Great heritage with a brand with genuine military history. And speaking of history in this regard, we have to talk Bulova hack. A lot of people do not recognize Bulova as also being one of the largest contributors to the wartime effort for the Allied forces for field watches. There are brands like Elgin and Bulova that were just as important as Hamilton in pushing this cause forward. So why is this called the hack? It was talking about a very important feature on the field of battle, where as you pulled out the crown to the farthest position, you could then stop the seconds, coordinating efforts with other military units and actions, like with artillery fire. Very similar layout to what was mentioned above with the Hamilton, very clean aesthetic. You have the 12 and 24-hour scales for easy reading of military time. No date for great symmetry, dome crystal that nails the vintage look. This is getting a Miyota powered caliber on the inside, coming from the same Citizen watch group that Bulova is under. This is the 82S0. Only getting 30 meters of water resistance here, a 38mm case with a lug-to-lug of 47mm, a little bit thicker as well at 13.45mm, but I love the looks of these. And if you're somebody that wants to spend less money on a field watch with true history, while also getting something that's also not gonna have the same amount of fotina, this is going to be a great choice for you. So the field watch genre is going to be one that clearly is going to be representative of this idea of no dates, having the time only function, but another is going to be the Flieger design. And here we're looking at a type B dial format with the Laco Aachen. So the Laco Aachen is type B dial format, which means large minutes and then small hours on the inside of the dial. This was primarily used by navigators during World War II and was set up with this configuration because minutes were more important for coordinating than hours were. So that's why they were larger on the outside of the dial. On the inside, you have the Hacking Miyota 8000 series calibers. These come with 50 meters of water resistance. You have a 39 millimeter option and a 42 millimeter option. Thickness just under 12 millimeters and 50 meters of water resistance with a sapphire crystal. The great thing about Laco compared to any other brand within the big five that were producing these style of watches during World War II is they offer ones with Miyota calibers on the inside, getting these priced closer to that $400 to $500 range. Now next up, we have Tissot with one of their cool heritage throwback pieces, the 1938 COSC. So this is a watch that comes with a nice case size and thickness, thickness at 11.3 millimeters and a lug to lug of 46.4 millimeters, getting 50 meters of water resistance and an ETA 2824, but also being COSC certified. So this is one of the most attainable Swiss chronometers that you are going to find in the market. Became a victim of the PRX mania. You didn't see enough people really talking about this watch in comparison to what was seen more as the hype choice of the PRX. Not to put down the PRX, but there were other great watches during this period that were coming out from Tissot, and this was one of the casualties of it as a result. But beyond all of these specs and what I'm talking about here, one of my favorite watches from Tissot is this 1938. It is just classically handsome. You have looks that get a nod from watch nerds, very simplified in its approach. Colorways include anthracite, salmon, and you also have a silver dial with blue numerals, suitable for both dress and casual attire, especially in the salmon colorway, and deserves way more attention and will never look out of place. So when Citizen came out with the Suyosa a few years ago, it started with a date with a Cyclops, but then they followed up with the small seconds variants. So that's what we're gonna be looking at here. So the Suyosa small seconds were priced a little bit higher than the 3-hand variants at the center stack with the date Cyclops at 3. These came in with a retail price around $595. You have case size of 40 millimeters, so same deal there, but 11.7 millimeters in thickness, so slim down the case, lug to lug of 45.7 millimeters and water resistance of 50 meters compared to something like the PRX with 100 meters of water resistance. But on the inside, you have the Miyota 8322. One of the upgrades for this version is going to be the extension of the power reserve. You see a 50% increase of the power reserve to 60 hours compared to the approximate 40 hours of those other earlier iterations. These will drop the date, add the small seconds display at 6, but you're also getting an upped classiness to the package with this guilloche textured dial achieved by press. Now let's look at some micro brands, and I actually have quite a bit of micro brands compared to major brands here, but I think it's just because they usually get these comments in the comment section about we want to see more no date watches. So it's usually these type of brands are going to answer the call and trying to provide peace to the watch collecting community. So first up, we have the Scurfa Diver 1. This is the D1 500 in titanium. This is a watch brand that was started by a saturation diver in 2014, Paul Scurfield. Now, Scurfa's basic premise is to provide basic professional dive watches that are, of course, capable for the job, but aren't going to cost a lot of money in the process. So with this, you're getting a grade 2 titanium case, 500 meters of water resistance, an actual helium escape valve, a sapphire crystal, and custom rubber strap, and getting grade A Swiss Superluminova for around $334 at the time of recording this video. Here's another fan favorite from the collecting community for what they've been able to do in a very short period of time. This is an Italian micro brand. This is Unimatic with their U2 Classic UC2. So this is more of a field watch genre, but also not really that too. Unimatic is a distinct type of brand because they have these overly minimalist approaches, but through this path towards having less on the dial, they've become more recognizable. It's almost by adding more with less, they've been able to create this identity, and I really like the way their watches look. So just under $500, you're getting a 38.5mm diameter, thickness of 12.7mm, and a lug-to-lug of 47.5mm, so pretty good wearing dimensions on that front. 300 meters of water resistance, so more than enough. Automatic Seiko NH35A on the inside with a sapphire crystal. This micro brand was founded in 2015 and has quickly made strides with collectors, and I even see a lot of high-end collectors that love Unimatic. There's something about this simple yet clean look with great symmetry that speaks to so many walks of life and watch collectors out there. We go from Italy to Japan with the Kuoe Royal Smith 90008. So this is one of their classic Miyota 9000 series powered watches. Very traditional in its approach as a dress watch design, getting a 34mm case diameter, thickness of 10mm, and a lug-to-lug of 41mm with water resistance of 50 meters. So this is a brand that was just started in 2020 and has quickly answered a question I think many collectors have had. Why do we not see more micro brands from Japan? We have all of the movements from Miyota and Seiko readily available, but nobody's really capitalizing it on this, and especially at this under $1,000 tier, Kuoe has been able to do this, and this is why they've been making so many strides so quickly. Much of the inspiration for this brand comes from vintage watches of the 1950s when their brand founder was traveling to the UK, got very much involved in the vintage collecting scene, and brought these ideas back to the Kyoto-based brand. So many people like to mention this brand when they have their watermelon series, but I'm gonna speak about what is my preference from this brand. This is going to be the Studio Underdog Series 2. The Studio Underdog Series 2 is the brand's take on a field watch design, and it comes with a little bit of a higher package, but getting some better spec and movement in the process. You have $950 for the retail price, 37mm in diameter, thickness of 12mm, and a lug-to-lug of 46mm, water resistance of 100 meters on these, and the movement is a Sellita SW210-1. So for these watches, you get this unique sapphire sandwich dial with numerals that appear to float on its surface. You have a variety of lighthearted colorways available, which is pretty common occurrence when it comes to this brand. That includes this sky blue shown here. The dial is loomed as well with several layers of Superluminova on a brass-based dial. That 37mm case size is gonna be great for those that wanna look back to the past and reminisce. Also getting drilled lugs in the process and being assembled in the UK. Now we shift to a dive watch from a micro brand based here in the United States. This is the Wren Diver 1. So Wren is a watch brand that just has gotten off the ground in the last few years. They were started by the Wrist Enthusiast. It's a popular blog and outlet in the watch community. Coming with a 41mm diameter, thickness of 13.3mm, and a lug-to-lug of 47mm with 200 meters of water resistance, and a Sellita SW200 on the inside with a sapphire crystal. These watches hit that nice sweet spot for more of that mid-size dive watch, now getting some different dial colors as of late. You have a PVD coated stainless steel case and bracelet for added scratch resistance. You have a fume effect for the dial with this layered sandwich construction, making way for the Superluminova on the inside to show off its presentation with a retro flat link bracelet as well. Now this next watch has a comparable approach to the Wren Diver 1, now taking it over to France and looking at a very beloved micro brand. This is Baltic with the Aquascaphe Titanium. So this is probably my favorite Aquascaphe configuration. I just love the way that these watches are set up and just they look with the titanium hue. Just really like these a lot. Similar dimension theme that we're finding here. So it seems like no date also goes hand in hand with vintage wearing dimensions, and that's what Baltic is going for with a Miyota 9039 caliber on the inside. It has a 4 Hertz Miyota caliber. Crystal is sapphire, and this was a 2022 release from the brand. One of the best-selling collections from Baltic overall. Getting a brushed ceramic bezel insert, rounded hour markers that recall the Seiko SKX, and 300 meters of water resistance. Next is the Nivada Grenchen Depth Master, also known as the Pac-Man, and once you look at these markers, you will know why. Priced just under $1,000, so it just made our cut here. Has a case diameter of 39mm, thickness of 13mm, and lug-to-lug of 47mm with an extreme water resistance rating, and you can sense why the thickness is a little bit higher here. This is 1,000 meters of water resistance. It's not gonna have the name Depth Master for nothing. Automatic Soprod P024 movement on the inside, inside, sapphire crystal. This is a reissue of a historic diver from the 1960s. You have this Art Deco dial font that gets its nickname from the 6 and 9 resembling a certain video game character. Square 39mm cushion case has great presence, but is still very wearable. It's overbuilt with that 1,000 meters of water resistance with a screw down crown, flat sapphire crystal, and automatic helium escape valve. This next watch is from Germany. On the bracelet, it is over $1,000. On a strap, it is under $1,000, but I think it's a solid package and I wanted to include it on this list if I could, so I'm going to include it. This is the Circula Pro Trail. This is a field, everyday style watch from a German family-owned and operated brand, coming with a diameter 40mm, thickness of 12mm, and a lug-to-lug of 46mm, water resistance of 150 meters, and the automatic SW200 on the inside. This is an Labore grade version of this caliber as well with a sapphire crystal. And one of my favorite features about the Pro Trail is with its case and bracelet. It offers scratch resistance to 1,200 Vickers due to its hardening treatment that goes on in the manufacturing process. That's around 8 to 9x what you're gonna get from traditional untreated stainless steel. You guys know that I love German watch design. There's just something about it, and I think this brand really delivers it when it comes to being overly manufactured and delivering on a lot of these points. You're also getting in the process a soft iron cage for this watch, which is going to allow for 1,000 Gauss also. So we left the dive watch genre for a quick moment, but now we have to go back. Everyone loves a no-date dive watch. Here we have the Laurier Neptune Series 4. So Laurier started in 2018 by a husband and wife team in New York, and the retro skin diver is gonna be one of the fan favorites from their collection. It has this Mad Men era style and sizing in a contemporary timepiece. You have a no-date 9000 series Miyota movement on the inside running at 4 Hertz, a big crown, drilled lugs, flat link bracelet, loomed acrylic bezel insert that nails that Bakelite look and looking to the past. You're also getting a Hezolite crystal, which is a throwback touch. I'm a big fan when brands are leaning into this idea. Some people don't like acrylic type of glass, but I think it's a great way to show off a different look. And if having this vintage touch bothers you and you don't want to have your crystal get scratched, just get a nice little bottle of Polywash and you'll be good to go and buff out some of those scratches, except those really deep ones. Laurier has their style aesthetic on lock throughout the lineup down to their marketing, and I think they really nailed it with the Neptune. This has just been a fan favorite, knocks it out with good water resistance, wearable case dimensions at 39mm and 12.7mm in thickness with that 46mm lug to lug. But all right guys, that is my video here today looking at the best time-only watches or no-date options on a budget under $1,000. This is for all of those that write snarky comments about a date window ruining a watch altogether because it's at 3 o'clock or 4:30 or honestly anywhere. If that's you, this was the video for you. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, hit the bell icon, really do appreciate that. Is there another style of watch like this or the absence of something on a watch that you can think of that maybe we could do a video about as well? If you guys like this, let me know in the comments down below. I wasn't sure if there's going to be enough people about this. This felt like one of those ideas where I just see so many people yelling about date windows that maybe there could be a video about this. In addition, please do check out teddybaldisser.com. teddybaldisser.com is an authorized dealer for over 35 brands. Every purchase from teddybaldisser.com comes with quick and fast fulfillment, dedicated customer support, and a full factory warranty for all the products that we offer. In addition, if you're ever in the Cleveland, Ohio area, or maybe want to join us for an event, please do stop in. We'd love to see you. All the individuals that are in that store love watches. They're enthusiasts like you and me, and they'd love to be able to help you out. In addition, if you're online and looking to buy a watch, definitely check out our website and use our live chat feature. It's in the bottom right corner. We're on there around 18 hours a day. All the people on there, not AI, those are real people behind the computer that will be happy to answer any questions that you have. Sometimes when I'm bored at night, I'll just pop on there as well. So if you have questions, feel free to reach out to us there. But guys, thank you again so much for watching. Be well, and I'll see you all very soon.